Hello guys, today I have several painting tips for the beginners or people who don't like using an airbrush. All 10 minutes of this video will be about painting a plastic aircraft model with a standard paintbrush. Before I bought my first airbrush, I had painted several models with standard brushes, but the result has been obviously worse than models painted with an airbrush. I decided to try it once more and do it much better. I have tested different colors and techniques for 3 months, and now you can see the result in this video. The biggest problem with modern acrylic, enamel or water paints is that they create a very thick layer and you cannot blur them, so you can never achieve the same result as if you were using an airbrush. One day I visited an art gallery and saw great paintings with perfect shadings. Suddenly I came with an idea. What about using oil paints to paint my models? Professional modelers use them commonly to paint the best figures in the world, so why not use them to paint an aircraft? In the beginning I tested only some cheap paints for $3, but they work perfectly anyway. Well, here is the fuselage to try the paints. You can see very fine pan lines and some rivets. First I must make the surface rougher with a sandpaper. Here I have 2 brands of paints. One of them is Abteilung 502. This color are excellent for shading, but not for painting. Therefore I rather use Czech Umton paints. You must be very careful with buying oil paints since they must have perfect covering abilities. For example, Umton paints have this black dot on the tubes. If the dot is half black and half white, then the paint is semi-transparent. You probably do not need this one. Anyways, by only entirely covering ones with a black dot. And of course I have tested different thinners too. The Abteilung Fast Dry Thinner seems like the right one to me. One more tip, always clean the tube caps and threads from the excessive paint. Your paints will last much longer. Consider this as a warning example. I spread the paint with a flat brush. You can see that I apply very thin layer on the fuselage. I blur the paint with a super smooth flat brush. I use cheap Tamiya flat brush number 5. I can easily paint over the base green color with another shade. It will create a sharp transition. Now I can simply blend the transition between both colors with a smooth brush. Here is the difference between sharp and smooth transition. The smooth one looks like it was painted with an airbrush. Let the paint dry for 2 days. Drying time depends on the used color and thinner. When the oil paint dries up, I imitate shadings with dark brown color and I blur them with a cotton swab. You can further play with these shades. I highly recommend trying everything and old kit or plastic boards. You wouldn't be disappointed if you destroy it. And here is the result. On top of that, a small bonus. I apply waterslide decals and washes. If you have clear acrylic spray, then use it. If you do not have one, then use acrylic varnish applied with a paintbrush. I soften the decals with Mr. Mark Setter. This time I do not use Mr. Mark Softer because it is quite aggressive. In the next step I apply the washes. I spray the model with clear varnish. And then I polish it with a very fine sandpaper, because I currently do not have a matte varnish. Using oil paints you can paint smoke effect and much more. And finally, here is the result. Hi guys! I'm very pleased with this paint job, but I still need more practice. I try to achieve a similar result as if I were using an airbrush. I think it's very close, but it's still not perfect. However, it is the best result I ever achieved with a standard paintbrush. The major advantage is the cost. You need only basic 6 colors for $3 each, and you can mix the rest themselves. Very well, thanks for watching, and that is all for today. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done it. And share this video please. Bye, see you next time.